Hey everyone, Lunar Lemon here. Today I want to talk about something a little more personal. So, just to cut to the chase, on October 2nd, 2023, a year ago as of this video's release, I attempted suicide. Via overdose, if that's important. Really, it's no secret that I've had mental health struggles all my life. Pretty much all my life, anyway. For the longest time, it was kind of a mystery what was happening, but I guess that's not really important. The reason I'm making this video, though, just to get my voice heard. Just to, I guess, share my story on what exactly happened, to reassure that I'm not gonna make it happen again, especially to my friends, because there were a lot of things that I said that day that, worried a lot of people who really didn't know the details of what was happening. It's been an issue for maybe about half my life, since my preteen years. I'm 20 now, in case that gives you a good reference point. I've dealt with thoughts of hurting myself. When I was a preteen, I used to find weird ways to hurt myself. Even into my teenage years, I would scratch myself, hit myself, whether it was with my fist or I would grab something heavy to hit myself with. And fortunately, these habits started to die down around the age of 17. I haven't done anything, I haven't hurt myself like that since then. But, you're probably wondering then, why did I attempt suicide when I was 19? And here's the thing, these thoughts never escape, and I don't expect them to. I don't think these thoughts are ever going to escape me. And unfortunately, that's kind of just how the brain works. Nowadays, I like to treat a lot of these things as learning experiences, as I've definitely matured, grown in a lot of ways that otherwise maybe I wouldn't have. But I do get these thoughts. I do get upset. I have what's called disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, or DMDD for short. This is a disability relatively new founded, only in I believe the 1990s, where basically I have extreme difficulty having any sort of control over my emotions. Something that would, mildly upset someone will really piss me off, or make me super depressed, or give me all this insane anxiety that it can make the rest of the day really difficult, or some things that are a bigger deal, or can be a bigger deal. These things could last for days, maybe even weeks. Every few months, I have a panic attack for one reason or another. I just had one back in April. Beginning of April, it's the whole I had a panic attack in the middle of class. And that's the whole reason I decided I need to take a mental health break. For those who don't know, it is the beginning of a fall semester at my school, and I am a registered student, but I'm taking this semester off for mental health reasons, and because now that I have a job, I'm actually, able to get money, save it up. I've been saving about 50% of my paychecks since my first week. So I'm continuing to do that. Might have like 2,500 by the time I go back to school, but in any event, that's not very important. So what happened? Why did I attempt suicide? And it's the short answer is one word: impulse. I was having a really rough day. I look back at some of the Discord messages I sent that day. I was losing it. It was not my day, just to put it simply. Everything felt like it was falling apart. It felt like everyone who I was interacting with was getting annoyed with me, was upset with me, didn't want to talk to me. And it just felt as if, what's the point? And eventually I won't disclose the amounts or what the medicines were, but I attempted to overdose. Obviously, it was an unsuccessful attempt. All that happened is I fell asleep within an hour or so. I was very, very tired the next day. It was a rough 2 days, and a lot of my friends, they didn't know what was happening. I posted some vague remarks on my private Twitter account, and a lot of them were just like, "What's going on?" They're worried for me. They couldn't get a response from me. A couple of my friends blamed themselves because they weren't there when I needed it for reasons that they weren't there to expect, they weren't there to do anything about it, and they didn't know what was happening, so it's not really their fault. I don't want to get too detailed with this, but I think a big aspect of why I did it, I was really stressed because really one of my best friends at the time, somebody who lived in the dorms as well, I will refer to this individual as DM. I'm not gonna give her name. Some people watching this video who knew me in 2023 might know who this is. She was a friend of mine throughout most of the year. She is not a friend of mine anymore, but she was a magnet for the wrong crowds, except for me. I was her one friend at the dorms who would consistently stay that way. She kept making friends with other people. 3 days later, she's not friends with these people. She considers them sketchy or rude or bad vibes. Something along those lines. And I don't know, maybe I just thought it was coincidence for a while. Little things I would do would kind of tick her off. She didn't like hearing me vent about things, even though she said she would listen, and she vents about things all the time to me, or vented about things all the time to me. she would always talk about her interests, but wouldn't care to listen for 3 seconds to mine, and even sometimes would explicitly say, "You do know I don't care, right?" Obviously, that's extremely rude to say, especially from someone whom I considered one of my best friends. And that day, I don't remember any details of what she did, but that day was probably no exception. And the next day, she was one of the first people I told that I had attempted suicide the night before. It seemed like genuine concern at first from her end. Then came that night. The night following my attempt. We were hanging out. We ended up going to a friend's dorm, and on our way there, something was said. She went up to me while we were walking to our friend's dorm. She gave me a hug and said if I had died the previous night, she would, and I quote, she would have felt betrayed. That was the exact word she used. And obviously that is not the right word to use. That doesn't take even 2 seconds of thinking to acknowledge that. That's just a straight up rude and selfish thing to say. Especially for someone who was one of your only friends. I was one of her only friends, and that night everything started to come together. I started to realize how much of a narcissist she really was, how damaging to my mental health she was, and I cut ties with her because I realized who she really was. She didn't care about me as a person, she cared about me as her friend, someone who listens to her, someone who is there because nobody else is. But she wouldn't care to listen about what I want to talk about. It was all about her. And so I was done. I felt better the following weeks. She did try to for the rest of that week I did go home just to get a break, and it was actually on my way back to the dorms when I got a message from one of her friends where she was asking if I was coming back soon, and I said yeah, and then she said she wanted to let you know that she still cares about you, and that message I ignored, and that was clearly the sign that I didn't want to be friends with her anymore. A month later, she did reach out to me and say that she wanted to talk about the situation. I went into it open-minded and gave her a second chance. She blew it only a couple weeks later when she was doing everything that she was doing before, but refused to own up to it. Hardly was even taking me seriously. And the way I thought of it after that time, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So that was her last chance. I only gave her that second chance, and she's never gonna get a third one. Ever. So I think a big factor is surround yourself with the right people. Don't surround yourself with people who either are trouble or everyone else is saying are trouble. Because there's a good chance if everybody's saying it, it's probably true. Especially with stuff like this where, people are saying things about other people, and these people saying these things, they're saying the same thing, but to one another, they don't know each other, they don't talk to each other. Like, person A and person B are saying something about person C because person A and person B used to be friends with person C at different times. But person A doesn't even know person B and vice versa. That's kind of what I'm getting at. But if they're saying the same thing, it's probably not a coincidence. I've noticed this with a lot of people. Again, I won't say names, but like I said, she was very draining to my mental health, and there's a good reason she's not part of my life anymore. Now, since then, my mental health is, to this day, still not perfect. Had a bit of a rough-ish morning as of me recording this. Yesterday, as of me recording this, wasn't very good. But I'm trying to stay rational. I haven't attempted suicide since the one day that I did. That was the only time I actually took action on my thoughts. And like I said, it was all impulse. And I really did worry a lot of people, and I apologized for that. To this day, I still feel really bad for what I did. What I almost did. I've never lost anyone to suicide, but losing someone at all is... The grieving process is... it's brutal. Especially when it comes off as an unexpected thing. You don't know that someone is going to do something, or just gonna die for any reason. It is worse than any other type of grief. All grief is difficult, but the less expected it is, the less ready you are to accept it. And acceptance is always the last step of the 5 stages of grief. People will, I've noticed everyone, usually experiences them, myself included, but the order of which you experience them is almost never the same. I'm doing okay. I'm doing better. And my emotions are never gonna be fully stabilized, because that's just part of the brain. Emotions are just things people experience, and I'm not afraid to deny it. Or I'm not gonna deny it. Sorry, I misspoke. I'm not afraid to accept it, is what I mean. Emotions make us human, and I'm not gonna pretend I don't experience these negative emotions, especially for someone like me who can't really mask them, and can't really hide them. I'm probably the only male 20-year-old who cries consistently. Maybe not so consistently, but like when I'm going through something difficult, when something bad happens, I'm probably gonna cry. Even right now, I kind of feel the need to cry, but it's not like a strong enough feeling to where I know it's going to happen. Otherwise, I probably would have started crying anyway. But back to the point, I won't do it again. I won't attempt suicide again, and I said that a year ago. Like I said at the beginning, it was impulsive. Everything was going wrong that could go wrong that day. But that's not true for every day. Things will go wrong most days, but not everything's gonna go wrong. Some days, a lot of things go right. Some days, a lot of things go wrong. There is no such thing as perfection, but can't really let these minor setbacks drag us down. If anything, because I've had such a rough experience in middle and high school, I've looked back and used it as a learning experience. Taken notice of my miraculous endurance. I don't know where that came from. I mean, even when I was in senior year of high school, it was pretty clear I was having a hard time. That was the hardest experience of my life, senior year of high school. They even got hospitalized toward the end of 2021 and made a video about it because people had noticed I had just disappeared for a week and left no notice. But I came back. Sure, I worried a lot of people, but that's the scary part. It's not like I want to worry people, but when I do things like this, I worry people. I feel like I'm very fortunate to have these people in my life who look up to me, who care about me. I know a lot of people don't have that, and that's why a lot of people either attempt or commit suicide. It's a problem. And a lot of the resources and whatnot out there are, for some people they work, for some people they don't. It's unfortunately not much consistency to it. But it's hard that it happens at all. You know, I don't want to make people feel jealous of me or anything. You know, I don't really need any sort of empathy, sympathy, envy. I don't really want any of that. This video, again, was mostly just because I wanted to share my story, make it known that some people who you may not even expect have mental issues. I don't really like to talk about it on my channel that much, because it takes away from what I do want on my channel. This video is just a little different. This month I was going to do an event where I was going to make a bunch of videos like this about specific, difficult to discuss topics, but I decided not to do that. It ended up becoming a little difficult for me to really figure out, and I don't really know if I had the courage to do it. Even this video, I had a hard time figuring out how I'm going to do it, when I'm going to record it. As you can probably tell from all these pauses in my voice, maybe I wasn't fully ready, but the first step is always the hardest. And I feel like I basically said what I wanted to say. That is basically all for this video, and for those dealing with these sort of issues, know that you're really not alone. There's a big difference between having one good thing and no good things, and I'm sure there really is one good thing, one good person, one good resource you do have, even if you don't really know it. It's a difficult thing to deal with, any sort of mental struggles, but it is very much possible to overcome these things. I will leave you with that. And thank you for watching and listening to my story, all the things I really wanted to say in this video. You guys mean a lot to me, and I will see you next time.